Welcome to Eagles post-game analysis here at the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, the longest-running weekly Philly sports podcast show in the world, 12 years strong, and the Philadelphia Eagles are now 3-0 on the season, amazingly enough, after beating the Los Angeles Rams down at the Linc by a score of 33-26. Game just got done. I'm shocked. I know my guest is shocked, too. A lot of us in Eagles Nation are shocked at how this game ended, how the Eagles performed in the second half after looking like complete dog doo-doo in the first half. Yes, I'm Jeff Warren. I'm here with my good buddy from the Honorable Mention podcast. You can subscribe to him over on YouTube and whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on if you're listening to audio. Matt Rogers, buddy. First and foremost, it is great to talk to you. Thanks so much for jumping on last minute here as we had a cancellation with one of my co-hosts. But I do have to say, man, it's great to be able to hear your voice, and it's great to get this Eagles victory. Week 3 here. Eagles getting it done, man.
Oh, it's always exciting. I'm always look forward to being on. Appreciate, getting to engage with you. We talk about a variety of different things. And I was telling you backstage before we started, I'm like, this is going to be a really freaking different show today. But we were talking at the 26-7. That was going to be more of like a funeral podcast.
Yes.
Today we are celebrating. This is the best team in football. Based on what I just watched over the last half of that game, you walked down a second-round playoff team, and that was a very good playoff team last year. Very good team. And you walk them down, don't allow them to score again, and you score. And Jalen Hurts does what. I guess I'm getting into the themes of the show, but I'm feeling great, Jeff.
Yes, please do, man. Please do.
That's what everybody has said they want to see from Jalen. Myself, at moments, I want to see this because I kind of want to shut up the haters. It also will open up opportunities for Saquon Barkley. We do want to see A.J. Brown get the ball because he's freaking amazing. You see him get, on a third and gotta have it. He catches it short of the sticks, runs the guy over to get a few extra yards because he's a special player. And so it's great to see. And they put 33 points on the board after putting 7 points on the board in 30 minutes.
Absolutely. Look, the Eagles came into this game, specifically the Eagles defense, I should say, came into this game first in points allowed, first in yards per game. We're going through the first half and thinking, oh my gosh, is Sean McVay actually going to get his second victory against the Philadelphia Eagles in his career? No, of course it didn't happen. Sean McVay came into this game today 1-4 against the Eagles. He's now 1-5. It's tough for him to beat this team. But look, we got to talk about another theme as well. Loved your first theme there. And I think it goes to show how important this offensive line cohesiveness is because we have what is called the Lane Johnson effect. And what happens with this team when one of these members of the offensive line go out. The Eagles had three and outs after Lane Johnson left the game for a total of negative 10 yards. Then they had their fourth 3 and out, I should say, right before the half. That's the drive where A.J. Brown got a personal foul penalty. Then you had Matt Pryor come in when Lane Johnson went out during the first half. Then Jeff Stoutland wasn't caring for what he was seeing from Matt Pryor, put in Fred Johnson at the half. And then you had this reshift and this refocus of being able to really have some pass protection for Jalen Hurts. And also, being able to get the run game here and there on specific plays, going a bit. Look, Saquon Barkley did not have the greatest day in the world. It's going to be interesting to watch this video and film. 18 carries, 46 yards. He only averaged 2.6 yards per carry in this game here, Matt. But I really think the Lane Johnson effect took hold of this team during the first half. Eagles had a total of 33 yards in the first half, probably the most anemic offensive performance that we've ever seen from a team, offensive, I should say, unit in quite some time. And then Jalen fumbles on the first snap of the half to the half. And, then the Rams score there, but it turned around because the offense was really able to get it together, and Jalen Hurts was able to do what he did. proving some critics wrong as well. But really, I think the Lane Johnson effect, I think we really saw that for a lot of this game until this offense then was able to adapt, my friend.
Absolutely. I mean, it's great that we got Fred back from Jacksonville because
yes,
I'm not a big Matt Pryor guy. Kennard, all those guys, they're not gonna be able to fill in a pinch. And the statistics when Lane Johnson's on the field versus off the field for the Philadelphia Eagles are really striking. Now, the statistics for A.J. Brown on the field and off the field, they're also striking, but not like
right.
Lane Johnson. I mean, the winning percentage is in the neighborhood of 70% versus 30%. And so it's a really important thing. And another theme, I think, while we're talking about offensive line, we had heard a lot of talk this week about, the Eagles jump off sides every time on the tush push, and they're going to call it. And in a close game, and they're going to have a bunch of third and have it and fourth, and you got to have it. And they're going to bring in the refs today, the refs that call the most false starts in the league. And we're going to crack down, and we're going to backdoor ban the play. Well, it didn't happen today because the false starts that people are talking about are microscopic when you're slowing it down to the slowest motion possible on a picture. You're seeing a guy, this is a millisecond, and it's the same thing with offensive holding on the line. You call things all the time, but when you're watching the play, they're not getting it because their line is able to jump off sides. They're getting it because their offensive line is able to give about a half a yard every time, and their quarterback is a superhuman, and even if he gets rejected, is going to give that second push over, and it's going to get the first down. So long live the tush push is another theme for me.
Long live the tush push. I'm not sure how long it is going to live after this season, to be honest with you, because like you said, that it's like this microscopic, just a hair of a second, which might actually be a false start. I mean, we did see it today. I think it was Landon Dickerson. It was either Dickerson or Tyler Steen, where there was a little bit early, but it was so, like you said, so microscopic. But we know that we know what the narrative is going to be with the tush push throughout this entire season, because there's a lot of owners and a lot of teams that want to get rid of this particular play. But I do have to say, another theme as we're moving along here, Matt, the explosive plays. After Jalen fumbled, turned the ball over, and then the offense ended up starting to get their stuff together, there were explosive plays. 2 in a row, a 38-yard pass to A.J. Brown, and then a 33-yard touchdown pass to Dallas Goedert. I am wishing that Kevin Patulu would get the ball down the field more, and we saw him do that during the course of the second half. Jalen Hurts ended today 21 of 32 for 226 yards, 3 touchdowns, a rating of 117.4, and then he averaged 7.1 yards per attempt. Those are the numbers that I like to see from him. Mixing and matching it up. Yes, they couldn't get Saquon Barkley moving in the rushing game. Again, only 2.6 yards per carry for him. A lot of negative yards for whatever reason. The run blocking was not great. And hand it to the Los Angeles Rams for actually defending the run. They knew they had to do it, but Jalen Hurts was able to then beat them through the air. So I guess for me, it's the adaptability, that I'm going to keep going back to why this team ended up winning this game. And also, by the way, one incredible, awesome talent in Jordan Davis and what he did in this game. Not just Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis with the field goal block, the first one in the fourth quarter, and then we had Jordan Davis winning this game for this team with the, they probably were, the Eagles were probably going to win anyway, perhaps, but needed that field goal block and then taking it down the field for the touchdown to make it 33-26. Jordan Davis, the MVP of this game for sure, Matt.
I was saying, last year on the back half of the season, you absolutely saw Jordan Davis able to make some plays when the quarterbacks would break contain, be able to chase the guy down to the sideline, which is so important. And they talked all offseason about how he had dropped about 20 or 30 pounds. And so you absolutely saw it. You saw it on a critical scramble of Stafford today, and he would not have been able to have the gas to take it all the way to the crib last season. To be
Yes.
honest with you,
Yes.
it's
Absolutely.
amazing. Credit to
Yep.
him for preparing himself for the moment, and now he's just gonna, his teammates are just. This is such a good team. These guys really celebrate and pour into each other in that
Yes.
locker room right now. I bet they're all talking about JD and about how proud they are of him, and that's only gonna inspire him to play better. And if Jordan Davis is another nightmare for people to worry about, good luck to folks.
Yeah.
Because you
Absolutely.
got Jalen Carter, who's one of the best players in football, and if they've really got to key in on number 90, I don't, it's interesting to even be having this conversation because in the first half, I was very pissed with the defensive line,
They
just
couldn't get
getting
pressure.
mauled.
Yes. Couldn't get pressure at all. It was crazy. It was crazy how they just could not get pressure and get through that Rams offensive line. Not a terrible offensive line, but they couldn't do it. It was great to see. But look, I mean, we do also have to talk about a glaring, just kind of like this glaring. I feel like it's a black eye on the defense, and that really is the cornerback 2 position. Matt,
Yes.
how many times are we seeing Adoree Jackson still getting cooked out there, cooked and cooked?
I've seen enough.
Well, I know. I have. And then Jacorian Bennett comes out, played well, played decent, I would say. But, man, he got away with some holding and some pass interference calls. Thankfully, those were not called on him.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't know if Jacorian Bennett is necessarily the answer either. It seems like this is really the Achilles heel of this defense at this point.
I totally agree with you, Jeff. I totally agree. I think the light at the end of the tunnel with this conversation is going back to the summer with the Micah Parsons situation. The information that's come out about that subsequently has let us know that the Eagles put an offer on the table that was bigger than what the Packers had offered, but Jerry
Right.
just didn't want to ship him inside the NFC East. That tells
Right.
me that Howie's still swinging for the fences, and if there's a deal to be made for a corner for that cornerback 2, he's going to go and get it. And I hope that it happens soon because Adoree, he's just simply not good. Jacorian is fine, but these wide receivers are really good in this league, and they played pretty well. I mean, Vic can only scheme it up so well. You're really going to need that second cornerback. And I don't think you're going to be able to get, just to set expectations for folks, don't expect a name like a Sauce Gardner, somebody like that. That's amazing, or a Denzel Ward, but a good, solid cornerback 2 who, it's barbecue chicken back there with Adoree Jackson. You can see the quarterbacks on third down checking, looking where number 8 is, and I'm just going there. And you cannot have that. If we're playing important, which we expect, which we will, folks, be playing important football in January, you cannot have a guy like that.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Adoree, if you're listening. I hate to rag on you like this, but
I got to tell you, though, we're honest here at the PST Podcast Show. Matt is always honest over at the Honorable Mention Podcast. You can subscribe on YouTube and whatever audio podcast platform you're listening to us on. Buddy, I think that's going to be it before we go to break here, and then we're going to get to our grades. Do you have any other themes you wanted to get into before we head to break?
No, absolutely. We hit them all good.
I think we hit them all. We're going to go to break, folks. When we get back, we're going to grade each unit as we do after every Eagles game. Stick with us. All right, we are back, and again with our friend Matt Rogers from the Honorable Mention Podcast. Let's get into these grades. Jalen Hurts mentioned his stats before. I'm going to give Jalen this week a B+. And look, a tale of 2 halves, for God's sake. I mean, it was a tale of 2 halves. A B+, I think, is fair, and given what we wanted to see from him, at the end of the game, in the second half, in general, you outlined it earlier in one of the themes, Matt, that we dove into. I think a B+ is fair. I don't know. What do you give him?
Yeah, I think that's about right. I mean, that first half was horrendous. I mean, you can't even it would be an F. It would be a low F too. If this was a numerical grading situation, I mean, he was in the teens. But then that second half was, I wouldn't say perfect, but because you did have the fumble, but it was really, really good football. And I mean, you just gotta commend the mettle that Jalen Hurts has. So many situations where it's like, you've got to get this 6 yards, you've got to get this 5 yards. If you don't convert this fourth down, the game's over, the season's over. Everybody's gonna talk about. He knows everything that's being said about him. So I commend him so much for his leadership, and it just infuses such a confidence into this team. So I agree with the B plus, but it's shocking because most of the time that ticked off of the clock in this game, he actually wasn't great, except for the most important part of the game where it was a damn near A plus football.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great way to describe it. And I think too, there's something to be said for the way that he put the offense into the position to fight and claw and get those 6 yards that you're talking about here and there that was needed. The little out routes to Devontae Smith that ended up being so crucial and so key in the end. And with Devontae Smith scoring the last touchdown, we're going to get to our wide receiver grades in just a bit here. But from a rushing perspective, Saquon Barkley, leading rusher on the team with 46 yards. Jalen Hurts had 40 on 9 carries, total of 86 yards, 3.2 yards per rush. The Rams just shot down this rushing attack. I mean, I'm going to give Saquon Barkley this week, and maybe it wasn't Barkley himself. Perhaps it were the lanes just not being there. Maybe it's just a good Rams defense stuffing the run. But I'm going to give it a D. What do you give it?
Yeah, I got to agree. And if we're saying running backs, I haven't, Dylan.
Just Saquon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Bigsby on the kick returns, he was a nightmare. I guess
we'll get to
include
him in a second.
Okay, so we'll leave Saquon. So just Saquon. Yeah, B plus, C minus. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Let's get to the receiving here. We finally had the resurgence because of whether it was play calling, and I think it was with Kevin Patullo. We finally have 10 targets for A.J. Brown in this game. He came down with 6 for 109 yards, 18.2 yards per reception and a touchdown. 9 targets for Devontae Smith. He came down with 8 balls for 60 yards, 7.5 yards per reception and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert only targeted twice, came down with 1 of those balls, which was the 33-yard touchdown. Saquon Barkley caught 4 balls for 9 yards. John Mechie caught 1 ball for 8 yards, and Jahan Dotson caught 1 ball for 7 yards for a total of 226 total receiving yards. I'm going to give the receivers this week just because we finally saw them and we have touchdowns coming from each key receiver in A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. I'm going to give them an A- this week. What do you give them? Maybe that's being a little too generous, but what do you give them, buddy?
I mean, this is kind of, if you're looking to see passing in the ball slung all over the football field, this is kind of, I would expect that this is, Jalen can do it. We saw him do it today. We saw him do it against the Steelers. We saw him do it in the Super Bowl. We saw him do it in the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl against the Chiefs. He can do it. Yeah. But if I had to guess, this is probably going to be more on the side of the high water mark. And so, yeah, A- is fair. It's just, this offense, this is how it goes. You're not going to see AJ for 200, Devontae for 100, right, Dallas for 50, Mechie for 50. That's not the way that we play. So today is more on the high side of what you can see in the box score. They came up with big catches on, gotta have it plays. Even on one of the throws that Jalen made, that was a risky throw that he threw that corner route, and Dotson, number 2, was surrounded by 4 Rams.
Yes,
Dotson made a play to break that up. That's an important play there. I did not like that throw from Jalen, and it doesn't get noted. Nobody's going to talk about that on, Get Up in the morning or First Take. But that breakup right there changes things, because you get a pick there that gets the other team going. It gets people on our team, gets the fans. So I say A- game today. Good right. Football. Yeah,
absolutely. Totally agree with that grade. Let's move to the offensive line, who has certainly had some difficulty, as we noted earlier before the break, when Matt Pryor was brought in after Lane Johnson's neck injury. I mean, things were just really rough on that right side of that offensive line. And again, the rush game not really able to get going. I'm actually going to give the offensive line this week a C. What do you give them, Matt?
Yeah, I gotta say it was not a dominant game from them.
No.
By any stretch. I mean, I remember one game specifically a couple of years ago. We came on and we ran for over 300 against the Packers, and we were just, head over heels. So
that's like A plus. Yeah.
We were nowhere close to that today.
Right.
Nowhere close. I mean, I would not say that they were. Today they were dominant outside of America's favorite play, which is we're always dominant on. But
absolutely,
outside of that, this is nothing to write home about. They got a lot of work to do. I go with your grade on this.
All right, let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. And the defensive line, again, a tale of two halves, I think, for this defensive line. And there were some good plays made throughout the game, but man, first half was so difficult for them to get any sort of penetration, any sort of semblance of pressure on Matt Stafford, who, by the way, was only sacked one time in this game by Jordan Davis, as Jordan Davis was, running from, to the sidelines, to get Matt Stafford out of bounds. And, but at the end of the day, I think you had some pretty decent play. And yes, Kyron Williams, 20 carries, 94 yards, 4.7 yards per carry. Blake Corum, I mean, he had a really nice day with 8 carries for 53 yards, 6.6 yards per carry. I'm going to give the defensive line this week a B-, and maybe that's generous. I don't know. What are you going to give them this week, buddy?
It's hard because Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter were playing defensive line. It was special teams, but they're right there at their normal positions when they make the key plays of the game. Yeah. And I know it's not a special teams thing, but they're players. I mean, I know it's not defensive line, but they're defensive linemen who made those plays. So it kind of skews the grade.
They're still getting their hands up, though. They're still getting their hands up. There's deflections. Nolan Smith made some key tackles also as well in this game, too. Jalix Hunt getting in the face of Matt Stafford as well. So, I mean, that's why I'm giving the B-. So, it wasn't a dominant sack game by any means. Not a lot of tackles for loss either, but the guys made plays, I thought, when they needed to make those plays. I think that might be what you're saying as well.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And I think they're due for some strip sacks late. They missed a couple in the Cowboys game. They missed a couple in the Chiefs game. One today on the deep ball that Devontae Smith did push off on whatever touchdown, because AJ might have done a little bit of the same on his touchdown.
Right.
If you look, Zadarius Smith's coming off the left tackle, and he's really close. So they're due, and they're on their way. I think C+, B- is in the right neighborhood. And
I think so too. Look, I'm appreciative of the 7 quarterback hits, and there was again 1 sack, only 2 tackles for a loss, but I'm happy with the 7 quarterback hits for sure. Mm-hmm. But let's move to the linebackers, buddy, and Zach Bond. Always a B.
Excellent.
He actually had two pass defenses today that he had. And yes, he may have only had like 3 solo tackles, 7 total tackles, but he and Jihad Campbell with 8 total tackles, 5 solo on the day. They're getting it done. So I'm going to give both of those. I'm going to give them a B+. What do you give them?
I'm giving them an A.
Okay.
I think that Zach, when people are watching the game, they'll see Kyron Williams running all over the Eagles and say, like, hey, the linebackers got to shut it down. That's the linebacker's fault. What the Rams were doing was they were doing a really, really good job of scheming things up, bringing their formations in tight, having Puka and Devontae Adams run blocking. And to another reason why Mr. Jackson, number 8, isn't great is because he is not bringing the right intensity to tackle and to touch other human beings.
Yes, yes.
Oh, he does not like touching human beings.
Yes. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Why do I have these shoulder pads on? I mean,
I know.
gosh.
Yes.
Where's your flag at, sir?
Yes, exactly. Very good. Very good. Well, speaking of secondary players, I mean, let's talk about this secondary, man. Like, honestly, I think like this is going to be a tough grade because there was some absolute horrendous play by the secondary. And there was also some really good play. Boy, a roller coaster ride for this secondary. I think at the end of the day, I'm going to give them a C+. To be honest, I think C+ is fair. I don't know. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking the same. I'm just sick of Adoree Jackson. I
know. I just look at all the yards Puka Nacua, and then yes, he got 15 targets in this game. Came down with 11 balls for 112 yards and averaged 10.2 yards per reception. And Devontae Adams had 8 targets on the day, but he only came down with 3 balls on the day for 56 yards. And yes, a touchdown, but still, like, it was just an up and down day, which is why I'm giving him a C+ to this Eagles secondary.
Yeah, they've got to. That's if this team. I will go back to what I said at the very beginning, just to repeat it. I do think this Eagles team is the best team in football. But if there is an Achilles heel, it's that CB2 spot, and it could kill them.
Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely could. All right, let's move over to the units, and I'm talking offense, defense, special teams, that coaching. Let's start off with special teams. Matt, you mentioned it earlier, buddy. Tank Bigsby and John Mechie. Holy cow. They kept dropping kick returns. I think they dropped like 5 or 6 returns, which was a complete joke. The Eagles looked totally unprepared to handle Josh Carty's knuckleball kickoffs or whatever the hell they're called. I mean, holy cow. But then you have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis with the first field goal block. And of course, the last field goal block for a touchdown by Jordan Davis. I think you gotta give special teams an A this week, right?
You do. And with the, it's like they said, you like to correct after a loss. It's gonna be a weird conversation in the locker room, like, you know, with Michael Clay, like, great freaking job this week, guys. And then you're kind of like peering out of the side of your eye at Tank and at John, like, you know, I ain't gonna say nothing to you right now, but you know what you did. I know what you did last summer.
Absolutely. Look, Braden Mann was averaging 55 yards per punt. There's something to be said for that. Jake Elliott making all 3 of his extra points too. I don't know. I'm giving special teams an A. Is that what you would give him as well?
Yeah, I was saying, Jeff, I'm sorry with the technical difficulties, but you cannot end a game with a 336-pound man streaking down the middle of the field, taking one to the house. You can't give that under an A. They would have had to have, you know, fumbles of our own, missed field goals, shanked punts.
Yep.
You win a game on that note. Plays later, they just are weighted. It's like your final exam. Your final exam is 90% of the grade.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
Go ahead. Take your A, Jordan Davis.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, gosh. Well, let's move over to the defense. Vic Fangio, the game that he called, how his personnel performed. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to give a C+. I'm going to give Vic Fangio and the defensive calling a C+ this week. What do you give him?
It's the tale of two halves thing again, Jeff. It's, you know, leading up to them scoring 26. It's horse shit. But then they didn't score again, right? And so
that's true. Yes.
I'll go B, because I do absolutely at this point now with I guess 20 something in the low 20s, mid 20s of games that I've watched Vic Fangio coaching this defense. I do have a confidence as the second half approaches, or as, you know, the clock starts ticking in the second half, that Vic has made adjustments, and it's always going to be better in the second half. I'm gonna go with a B- overall.
Okay. Look, I said C+, B-. I think it's fair, and quite frankly, I think it's probably going to be the same type of grade that we're going to give to Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni for the offense, because it's the same thing. Couldn't do a thing in the first half. 7 points in the first quarter off that what was it, their second drive, or the first drive of the game, and then just a nothing burger consistently for well over basically close to 20 some minutes. It was ridiculous. Yes. All the 3 and out. So I'm going C+, B- area for the offensive coaching. What do you give them?
Yeah, I gotta. I agree with you. They played. I think the players made plays. I think it to some degree. I think that was the genius of the second half. Was like, okay, now we're just gonna go let AJ, Vontae, Jalen, and Saquon do what they do, and go and win the game for us. I, so I'll go with a little bit lower because they've got to clean this up. I'm gonna go with a C.
Okay. All right. Sounds good to me, man. Sounds good. That's going to do it for us, folks. Again, week 3 of this Philadelphia Eagles 2025-2026 season now in the books. They beat the Los Angeles Rams by a score 33-26 down at the Linc. Man, they are atop the NFC East here. Amazing. And again, want to thank our friend Matt Rogers from the Honorable Mention podcast for jumping on with us. It was always great to talk to you, Matt. Any final thoughts before I let you go, buddy?
No, thank you, and thank you to the audience for bearing with me while I got bad connectivity. Just trying to share a little enthusiasm about the best team in football.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Subscribe to Matt and the Honorable Mention podcast. If you are following us on the interwebs out there, you can like us here on YouTube and say, like this video. Subscribe to us as well. Share us on YouTube. Share folks with your friends. You can have our YouTube content on in the background while you're doing the dishes, while you're cooking dinner, whatever the case may be. We'd greatly appreciate it. That's going to do it for us, folks. Take care, and we will catch you next time.